Hi Gemini, this is Kay. You're on the Collective Soul Tarot channel. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to your reading. Let's find out what Archangel Michael says you need to know today. Gemini, what does Gemini need to know today? Please like and subscribe, especially if it resonates with you, and I hope you're doing well. So we've got home, card number 1. Home, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. It's looking like she's walking away from home, but looking back. With nostalgia, I guess. Okay, I will read that in a minute, but let's get the rest of the cards out. All right, Archangel Michael, Holy Spirit. Someone is leaving home. We have got the Empress. Okay. Through bursts of creative energy, you fulfill your potential, artistic inspiration and perseverance, creativity. Kindness and completion is the Empress energy. So someone's leaving like a place of familiarity, a place that one's known for a long time. You know, a place of comfort and contentment, or a place that you've outgrown, right? It's time to move on. With the 9 of Cups, Empress in the 9 of Cups, she's standing there with her arms out, you know, up in the air, going, look at all I have. I got 9 cups. I'm so abundant. I'm emotionally fulfilling, because there's the 10 of Cups after that. That's where you kind of include others. This is where you're on your own. The 9 of Cups. As the Empress energy. Okay, let's read this for a second. Home. Every fairy tale heroine story begins at home. Her home is rarely a safe place, though, and the story begins properly when it's taken away from her, or she's ejected from it penniless and apparently friendless. The reason why the heroine must leave home is always because something important is lacking there. Often it's a lack of a good mother, usually because she's dead or powerless. In the former case, she might then be replaced by a wicked stepmother, or a good father, in quotations, who might be missing in action or actively abusive. The situation of lack that is faced by the heroine is generally made worse by the presence of wicked sisters or stepsisters. In some stories, such as Hansel and Gretel, there might instead be a lack of money, and therefore of the parents' ability to feed their family. Nevertheless, for all that it might lack, home is a force to be reckoned with. It's the place of the heroine's beginning, the place that made her, and the nature of it all will always in some ways define and confine her. It might be frightening to be cast out of her original home, but it's necessary first step on her journey of transformation, her journey to adulthood. In what ways did the place of your beginnings confine or define you? Was there a lack which has affected at least a part of your story? Yeah, and isn't it, it's pretty much the case for everyone. There's always some kind of, you know, there's very rare that children grow up in a family that's so well-rounded, so wholesome and well-rounded, where the kids have so many opportunities and they take advantage of the opportunities. They do it with a humble attitude, and they do it with love and excitement and caring and consideration of everyone else in the family unit. Like that's so rare, right? Well, most of us grew up in families where, you know, there's some kind of dysfunction going on. Definitely. Let's find out what the Lenormand has to say. That one wanted to be seen, and so do those ones. Holy moly. So we have Clover. Let's see here. We have Clover And we see that over there. That's the first card that really truly popped up. Then we have the cross, which is something that we're grieving. This is good luck or happy times. Grieving, the key that sets us free or keeps us restricted. The mountains, the obstacles we have to overcome. The main female, that's the one who's growing up, who's become an adult, right? And looking closely at the gentleman number 2, which to me is, because the bare-chested to me is like the emperor energy, because he's vulnerable, but he is also very confident, and he's in a red robe, and he's bare-chested. You know, he's like, he's very strong and capable, with great fortune coming in after that. Okay, yes. What seemed like should be happy times turned into something, happy times, you know, good favor, good luck, you know, with the home situation, turned into something that was grievous, you know. You found a way by just literally opening the door and walking, leaving the home. You set yourself free, but as a result, you know, maybe going out in the world, maybe you don't have completed your education, or you might be penniless, don't have a job, don't have any other family members to rely on. This is you now, an adult. You have stepped into a mature energy because you're out on your own, basically independent. And something that's been very, very, very important for you to look at and focus on is the fact that there is somebody who's in an authority position in your life. So this could be the emperor, but it could also be your father, or a father figure, maybe a grandfather. And then great fortune is, it's all about, like, great fortune is like the best card in the entire Lenormand with respect to prosperity and abundance and all other things that we hope to achieve in this life. Okay, let's get some, that's a lot of Lenormand. Let's get some introspection, or I should say clarification. That one wants to come out. 5 of Swords, yeah. I feel like that right now after looking at all that. 5 of Swords, okay. And let's see. With a headache. 4 Cups, yeah. Disappointment. Disappointed, possibly bored with the restriction of home, and that's what just came into my head. The restriction, the limitations, the restrictions, maybe the strictness of your parental presences, you know, the people who are your parents, whether they're step parents or your actual biological parent. Yeah, it's been an energy where your life just feels like it's in turmoil, and at least in your own mind, right? To other people it may not look like that at all, but in your own mind it feels like things have been going against you, like anything that could help you progress forward by leaving home. It's kind of it's been challenging, to say the least, to be able to leave and be free of what you are walking away from, because number 1, it is your family home. Number 2, it is something that you've come to know, very familiar, right? Whether it's been a time of trauma or a time of good times, it's a place where you can say, that's where I can walk and go into. I may not feel safe and secure because of what the people do in the house, but I have a space, and I can get out of the weather. I can get out of being out there, just being out there. I will hide. If you had to hide, you hide. You go in your room. You might even hide in your closet or under your bed while you're home, depending on what your circumstances are. But if you don't have to go to that length, you would just go into your room, shut the door, and hope everybody just leaves you alone. We have the Nine of Swords. Wow. And you're not even feeling safe at night when you sleep. Because either you are feeling threatened all the time, and that when you go to bed, you're just not sure if you're safe there, or it's just that you take your fears and your concerns and worries to bed that you barely even sleep. Ace of Pentacles. Something about relocating here is what I got. Something about moving on a new path. With the Queen of Cups. Okay. The Seven of Pentacles. Looking how far you've come with how much you have done to come this far. Knight of Cups. Wow, the Emperor energy. Ten of Cups. There's your Ten of Cups from the Nine of Cups here. Five of Pentacles. The Tower card. The Fool. The Empress again. The Two of Pentacles. This is your future energy. Knight of Wands. And, oh, pardon me, King of Wands and Knight of Wands with the Lovers. And then the Six of Pentacles with the Four of Wands. I think that what we're looking at here, guys, is that whatever challenges your home life brought you, there is some really good stuff happening to you because you've decided to leave it behind. Now, your home may not mean your actual physical home. It could simply mean the mindset that you're in, the type of thoughts you have that worry, that cause you to worry and be concerned and as afraid of what you know, what's coming next in life, kind of thing. Afraid to really strike out on your own and be independent and feel the air and the energy of being, you know, successfully living an independent life and moving towards building a life that is you can call your own, away from the family and all that means to you, but also away from like finding the healing that you need from the scars that came as a result of the trauma you experienced as a wounded child, right? A child who had you know, experienced things in your childhood life. It doesn't have to be as bad as abuse, but it could include that, but it could just be feeling like you've been neglected. Maybe you felt like your mother or father had a favorite sibling and you weren't it, and maybe you were just not taken seriously, or your feelings weren't taken into consideration. You weren't feeling valued, you know, valued and worthy, not heard, unheard at times, maybe, just just basically feeling belittled and insignificant, not trusted to be able to make decisions and to be left on your own, to to fall and get up and dust off. You were always possibly restricted, limited from being able to date girls or boys, whatever, go out with friends and have good times, parties with people. You maybe were never able to really do that. It was just, if you did, you had to be home at an ungodly time, like 9 o'clock instead of 11 or 12 on the weekends or later, which really, took it took your independent time to be able to enjoy yourself with your friends and stuff like that. That was really like considerably oppressed, right? Oppressed. And so you grew up in a space and time where you might have thought while you were growing up that it was this way for everybody, that this is just the way it was in families, until you come to realize it wasn't. But in any case, you've been possibly acted out as a young person, acted out, maybe got involved in drugs, drinking alcohol, doing harder drugs, whatever, maybe unsafe sex or just sex. And, you know, it just became, your home was kind of like a battleground. Even if it wasn't fists flying or anything like that, it just felt like you had 1,000 eyes on you, that there was nothing you could do that would make your parents happy. Your siblings were on you all the time, telling on you or just trying to make your life miserable. It was just not a pleasant home life. It just wasn't a pleasant home life, Gemini. So, and you know, as Gemini, you're kind of two people. You split yourself. And sometimes you have to split yourself in order to be able to endure the time that you're experiencing, whatever it is you're experiencing. So when you're outside the home, you integrate and you become more like yourself. But when you're in the home, it's kind of like you are two different people, from what you were like outside the home with your friends to what you're like in the house. Like, your friends probably wouldn't recognize you if they could be a fly on the wall watching you in your house, because they would be shocked, likely too, at what it was that you were enduring and surviving, basically. So, and like I said, it doesn't have to be as bad as abuse, but when you're experiencing a home life that feels threatening in some way, and if it's just a threat of feeling emotionally vulnerable, just emotionally vulnerable, never mind anything else. If you are living in a home where you feel emotionally vulnerable because you don't have anyone who sees, like, tells you that they see value in you, and therefore are kind and compassionate and gentle with you, and try to help you feel better when you're not feeling emotionally safe or emotionally beat up in some way. You just didn't have that kind of emotional support. Perhaps your parents, you know, they grew up the same way. Possibly they didn't know how to be emotionally supportive. But, you know, so these, you know, people who can't be emotionally supportive towards children maybe shouldn't have children, right? But we do. And so your parents grew up not being emotionally supported by their own family members, and that's all they knew. So when they started a family themselves, they wouldn't be able to be that emotional support for their kids, because they just wouldn't know how to do it. They behave in other ways, like things like, oh, you know, smarten up, get over it, pick yourself up, and get busy, do this, do that, quit being so grouchy, quit being this, don't stop that, or I'm going to, you know, they say, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about, you know, stuff like that, right? And you just don't ever feel like they don't really care about how you feel, and you feel devalued in their eyes. Yeah, and so we go out as adults feeling like we're not valued, we're worthless, unworthy of being loved. And it's like you got to be able to look at, now you're in that kind of sensitive place, in now that you have inner wounds, like childhood wounds. You have to find a way to be able to overcome and to overcome and actually succeed in finding some peace and happiness in your life. Peace and happiness. So what should have been a space, a place, a haven for you, that might have been some good times when you're quite a small child, but as you grew into teenager, perhaps your parents expected much more of you, or didn't trust you as much, and they put a lot more restrictions on you, just kind of keeping you in line and under thumb, right, under finger, so that they didn't have to worry about you. they would always know where you are. If you can't go anywhere, they'd always know where you are. And they're going to, you know, they're angry. They might say things that hurt your feelings, and there's no apologies. You know, I should never said that to you. I'm sorry. I know I hurt your feelings. This, that. There's none of that kind of stuff going on. They just say it and it's done. And there's no coming back from it, right? You're always going to remember that. So things started to, perhaps one of your parents passed away. And after that time, or just if a parent or a sibling didn't pass away, it's just everything turned grievous, you know? Like, there was no longer picking, I don't know if those are dandelions or what, the flowers off the 4-leaf clover plant, the 3-leaf clover plant. But it's no more picking those and blowing the little, you know, the little things off, and enjoying the sunlight and nature and all that sort of stuff, having fun as a kid. There's no more of that. That's over with right here. It's over with. And now it's like, I feel like I am held prisoner in many different ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, and maybe even, you know, spiritually. But I'm feeling imposed upon. But you find a way. You actually find a way through all of this disappointment and grief and stuff. A light shines. A light shines upon your mind. It gives you an idea. The idea comes to you that says you can set yourself free. And the divine's behind this, so the divine is saying at the same time as you hear that you can set yourself free, the divine is saying, you may not hear it, you may not realize it, maybe you feel it, but the divine is saying, I will be there to support you. I'll have your back. I will help you in any way you let me help you. And so any obstacles and challenges that you may face, I'm here to help you overcome and get around. Solve, you know, problem solving, right? And you're going, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, you know. Thank you, God, for loving me as I know I need to love myself. No one else has been loving me the way I need to love myself. And now, with that idea that you can let yourself free, you've got the key to turn, and it's going to help you overcome obstacles. It's going to help you mature to become the person who's the main person in your life. You, the main female. You are the main person in your life, Gemini. There is no one else that you need to you know, put your trust and faith in right now other than yourself first. And so it's time to start looking very, very closely at whatever it is that you've not quite seen. And it could be simply something about that have to do with either what your father was like that caused you, is when it comes to the family dynamics, it's usually the father with the daughters, and then the mothers with the sons, right? If there's any kind of conflict, it could be something as simple as saying your father maybe had one of your sisters was more of the apple of their eye than you were, and you maybe have been feeling left out, like not good enough, like rejected. And they may have never said anything like that to you, that I reject you, that you're not good enough, that your sister is, you know, the apple of my eye. They may have never said anything like that to you, but you could see it because in their interactions with each other, that your father was not like that with you. And that told you, that spoke very loudly to you, saying, I'm not worthy to men, you know, because your father's a man. To the opposite sex, okay? I am not worthy to the opposite sex. The opposite sex doesn't value me. I mean, it's my own father and he doesn't value me. So how can I expect anyone else? If anyone knows me, my father is going to know me better than any other man is going to know me, and yet he rejects me, you know, that kind of thing. So it could possibly be that you need to have a closer look at what your childhood wounds, where they're stemming from. All right, and it could be something that has to do with the dynamics between you and your father. because you are the female, Gemini. We're talking to women here. You are the female. This is not feminine, it's female. Okay, so we have the Empress energy here with the Nine of Cups. It is about overcoming what you experienced here by understanding, see the magnifying glass, by finding clarity, understanding what is going on with this this Emperor energy person, this person of authority, the one that is like the husband in the family, not to you, the husband in the family to your mother or stepmother, the father figure. Okay, you have to understand that so that you can be able to, like with the Empress energy and the Nine of Cups energy, you can step into that energy of this here too, of you know, things equaling out, being fair, equal give and take. Empress energy here, Two of Pentacles, managing, and then meeting someone who's in the King of Wands energy, who is going to be taking you, you know, helping, like sweeping you off your feet, falling in love. Things are very fair and equal give and take, reciprocity. Four of Wands, moving in together, possibly getting married, and you feeling like you have been able to touch the face of God, basically, now in your life, touching the face of God. In other words, this energy, Empress energy with great fortune, and the Nine of Cups energy, feeling emotionally valuable, emotionally fulfilled. Okay, emotionally valuable. You may not have ever really had an emotional, you know, deep bonding connection with your father, an emotional connection. So for you to be able to bond with another emotionally, it's going to be something that you crave, right? But you don't even know what you're craving. You don't necessarily even know what you're craving. And as a result, you've had many different difficult romantic relationships, difficult ones where they've left you feeling, you know, rejected, and you feeling dissatisfied, rejected, dissatisfied. You know, another one's been, you know, another one bites the dust kind of thing, sabotaged energy there, and you're left alone in bed crying and thinking, I'm unworthy. Oh my God, I'm so unworthy. How come I'm so unworthy? You know, so unworthy that another relationship didn't work out. And now I'm hearing the word again. I'm hearing the word that says, because this is like you've moved through you've left home, you've moved through your challenges and whatnot, and you've had a chance to study your connection with your parent, okay? And that you've come up with some nuggets of truth, wisdom. You've seen, and I was just, you know, myself, I was laying in bed, and I just started thinking about all these past memories of the way life used to be for me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm not doing that anymore. Oh my God, I'm so happy I'm not having to be in that situation, go to work at that place, be around these people anymore, right? I'm so happy, which meant then the other thing would be saying, I'm so happy I'm not doing any of that. That's over with. That's gone. I'm grateful for where I am now. You know, I'm feeling like I've said goodbye to that. That's the old me, old part of my life. And now I can say, I'm happy with my life. I mean, I wasn't happy with my life then. And where I'm sitting now without any of that going on, I can honestly say I may not be ecstatic with my life, but I'm happy with my life. I'm at least grateful I am not doing any of that anymore. That is like, and being able to say that, which is the first time that was like an aha moment in me this morning while I was laying in bed. And it's interesting, I'm doing a reading that kind of touches on that, in the sense that it's about being grateful that you have a new lease on life, that you could walk away from this here by simply saying, looking, remembering, because my soul was having me remember these things while I was laying there, because it wanted to teach me what it was like to be in my shoes now. What's life like for me now, and for me to say, I'm happy in my life. I love my life. I can say I love my life, which is not something I've ever really said before, but my soul said, it's time for you to be taught that is actually, like, you're ready for it, right? Obviously, you're ready to be taught that it's okay for you to say, I love my life, because you can remember how it was, and that's something that you're very grateful you're not in now. So what does that mean? It has to mean that I'm grateful, therefore I'm happier. I'm much happier, therefore I can say I love my life now. And as I go on, I'll continue to love my life, even love my life more than I love my life right now. So that's what I'm talking about, is that Nine of Cups feeling like you have survived and now you're thriving. You're going to be thriving if you're not already, but you're survived and you've thrived, you're doing well, you are emotionally feeling more emotionally valuable and more emotionally fulfilled. The Empress energy, like, I have lived some torment and some trauma. I have lived the emotional rejection. I've lived through it. I've survived. I'm thriving now. I have endured, and on top of that, I am actually standing in the energy that I can say I have learned. I have all these, I've learned lessons. I've learned lessons that help me to see my life in a different way, like I did today. I can see that I'm not doing that, so, like, thank God for that. And I can now say I love my life because I'm not doing that anymore. That's not part of my life anymore. This is what I'm doing, and I love my life. I have peace. I have harmony in my life. And it may not be completely peaceful, completely harmonious, especially not all the time, obviously, but I can say at least I have peace and harmony in my life. At least I can say I'm not doing that, because that was not peacefulness and that was not harmonious. It may have felt like it at times at that time, but when you sit there and think about how things used to be with the people you used to know and work with and all this sort of stuff, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so lucky now. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. So yeah, it was times where things just weren't, they were troubling times. There were times of stress and anxiety and possibly anger and depression. There was times like that, and it doesn't have to be with respect to a relationship, because for me it wasn't. It was more like just friendships, and I don't mean a romantic relationship is what I'm talking about. For me it was more like friendships, or people that wanted to be friends, and I wanted to be friends with too, or so I thought. And work relationships, right? Work situations and relationships for me. So that this here doesn't, if this reading was for me, it would be about that, and it wouldn't be about a romantic relationship. Okay, so just so you know, Gemini. So now you're like, oh my God, I just love my life. Oh my God, this is a point in time where I can say I have set myself free. I followed the urges, the insight, whatever it was that said, you know what, I can do that. Right? And it could have been simply as just opening the front door and walking out. And that would be the same with your mental state, the things that you think about that may be bringing you down, that you think about things that brings you down. Well, I can sit there and lay in bed and think about all the things that, I'm like cringing about. I actually had those experiences, and I could sit there laying in bed feeling down and regretful about it, but then I was reminded that it wasn't about feeling down and regretful. That's not why I was remembering these things right now. It was about being able to say, I am so happy where I am right now. And like the epiphany is like, yeah, I'm remembering that, and it feels like each like this, but right here, right now, I'm feeling like I don't have to feel like that. I'm feeling a totally different experience now in my life, and I'm saying I'm so grateful. In other words, I'm so happy with my life. It's so much better than it used to be. It's like, look at all that I've grown. You know, if you're looking back at the past and you see how the seeds that were planted there in you as being the person who is valuable and who is worthy, no matter how you saw this, as a perspective that you gained as a child, because you were never taught. Let's say you were never taught any differently. You were watching your father with your sibling that they had a really great relationship with. No one ever stopped and say, why are you looking like that? Why do you look like you're upset? Why do you look like you don't have a place here among us at this point in time? No one said that to you. And then you could say, well, Dad, you know, or you could say to Mommy, Daddy is like always playing with Sarah, but he never really spends any time with me. And then your mom, like if they're very somewhat emotionally available to you, they could say, oh honey, that's terrible, you know, I hate that you feel that way, you know, I think Dad and you should have a talk. Well, that never happened, right? Nobody ever corrected your thinking. And so you went in through your whole entire life into adulthood thinking that you couldn't be enough for the one important male figure in your life. So how would any other male figure in my life see me any differently? Right? How could any male figure in my life see me any differently than I believe my father saw me, which was not enough. And so you're looking at all that and you're saying, look, I have grown, but that's just a little. I have got so much more to grow yet, so much more to grow. And I've just begun. But I'm in a better place now. Totally in a better place. And then someone comes along and tells you that they are somebody who sees the value in you. Again, this could be an employer that is giving you an offer, okay, an offer of I see so much in you, or like they just friendly to you and they like your energy. They get on with you. They feel like there's at least a small connection that they should offer you a job, let's say. Offer you a job or offer you some other thing that is going to make you feel like you're in the right place at the right time. Okay, so this, if it's not, it's like somebody who could be husband material to you, who is definitely not in the same energy as your father was or is still. Okay, so this is a different person here. It's not your father, and they are giving you, like the Knight of Cups, they're giving you an offer of I like you, I'm interested in you, I see you as somebody that I'd like to get to know better, you know, I'd like to be your friend, and then, you know, get to know you even better after that. But the Ten of Cups energy, that is like the ultimate of feeling like you belong somewhere. Right? You belong somewhere. You're emotionally fulfilled, belonging somewhere. This is not feeling like you're belonging anywhere. It feels like you've been left out in the cold, like this energy right here before, when you're with your family, in your family home. But it is like, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a happy tower moment, because you're going to realize that this is not about, you could actually, because, you know, when we have that kind of trauma, guys, Gemini, that when you have that kind of trauma, even if it's not like not hardcore trauma, it's still trauma to you, okay? Depending on what level of trauma, it doesn't matter. It's trauma is trauma. So you have that, you're automatically, your mind's automatically going to go back to thinking that you're not enough, and that's why you've been locked out. But the funny thing is the key's right there. You can unlock the door this time quickly. You didn't have to wait for this to happen before you got the nod. You can you can free yourself. You can free yourself, and we'll be there. I'll be there for you to overcome all your struggles and challenges, because you decided to walk out on your own. all right, to save yourself, basically. There's going to be a beautiful tower moment where it's going to, you know, something's going to break down your walls, because there's going to be a new beginning for you that is going to truly make you shine and rise above all the pain and the trauma that you have. There's going to be times where you still got trauma to recognize, acknowledge and recognize and heal, but you're on your path to doing that with the Empress energy. And now the two of you are like just because this person is paying attention to you and telling you that you're valuable to them, that you're starting to feel like there is life in this town, you know, for you, kind of thing. There's life for you. This is not a bad tower. This is a good tower. If it's bad at all, it's like it's breaking down this door right here, because you're going to see the key and it's going to open that door, and that's breaking it down, right? Because you right away, is what I'm trying to say, is that when you're learning to set yourself free, you find that you may go back a step, you know, take one step forward, two steps back, kind of thing at times. But because you're learning, you're teaching yourself what it means to you, how important it is to let yourself be free, that your mind's going to take you to the solution a lot sooner. And the solution is that key again, right there. Okay, that is the solution. So you're going to find the solution. It's going to knock that dang door down, and you're going to literally set yourself free again, to take a leap of faith. You've stepped into the Emperor and Empress energy. You're living the good life. You're doing well. You're managing your tendency to slip back into negative thinking and fear again. You're managing it. Yes, you're becoming successful at doing that. And the King of Wands here is just like you are stepping into the kind of energy that that is going to be your doer. You know, you're taking life by the horns and you're taking charge, take control. And then this person, you know, this person's in your life. They are wanting to sweep you off your feet in a really romantic but passionate and true way for you. So we just feel like you're on cloud nine now. You're at cloud nine. You've got somebody who truly is showing up for you and sees your value and worth, right? Because you started to see your value and your worth, and that's why you left. You said, hey, I'm worth way more than all of this trauma. I can't take it anymore. And that's the sign of your mind saying, no, we're not doing this anymore. We got to get out of here. Okay? That's you taking care of yourself. Life is going to be balanced for you. Equal give and take reciprocity. There's not going to be any of this person going to be paying more attention to somebody else than to you. They're going to be paying it to you. Four Wands, maybe they're asking for you to either move in together. They just want to be with you, right? Maybe they're asking you to marry you, but it's going to be a celebration for you, and you're going to be feeling like you are, like God's got your eye on you. Like you have, the sky has opened up, you know, and now you're feeling like you are the chosen one, like you are under God's eye. Quite literally. I'm under God's eye right here. I know that I'm protected. I'm safe. All I have to do is believe in myself. Believe in my strength. That strength that I have within me that helped me to see that your mind can only take so much. And your mind said, that would be you and your mind. But I'm just saying, I got to get out of here. Something's got to change. Something's got to change. I can't stay here anymore. I got to get out of here. So this is what you did. Is you got yourself out of here. You moved on. You had challenges with that, of course. You know, you're walking out. You're a fairly young person. You were a fairly young person leaving all that trauma behind. And if it wasn't the trauma of actual physical family life, it was just a trauma that you have in your mind, in your own home, your sanctuary, your mind, right? We live within our mind. And if you don't believe that, you know, tomorrow morning when you wake up, see if you're actually having a thought. Or if you dream, okay? You're dreaming, you're doing all sorts of things in that mind of yours while you're dreaming. So if you don't believe that everything is mind and that we live within our mind, then yeah, see what happens when you wake up tomorrow morning. See how quickly you have your first thought. So by the way, I hope this was helpful to you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and take care of yourself, Gemini, and good for you. Bye for now.